Right now, someone is on their knees. Not scrolling through their phone. Not texting their friends. Not swiping left or right on an app. They are literally on their knees, hands clasped, eyes closed, whispering your name to God. And you have absolutely no idea. If you've ever felt like something was shifting in your life, like something was coming but you couldn't explain it, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to understand something that most people go their entire lives without realizing. And trust me, the part that comes around the middle of this video is going to completely change the way you see your love life, your loneliness, and your waiting season. If this is already speaking to your soul, hit subscribe right now, drop a comment below telling me what you're currently believing God for, and give this video a like. It helps more people find this message. Now let's go deep. There is a level of spiritual connection that exists between two people before they ever meet. Most people don't talk about this. Most relationship advice stays on the surface. Work on yourself. Put yourself out there. Join a dating app. But none of that touches what's really happening underneath. There is an invisible thread that runs between certain souls. And when God is involved in someone's love life, that thread is not random. It is intentional. It is directional. And it is already in motion. So let's talk about what it actually means when someone is praying for you to be their spouse. Not in a vague, I'm praying for my future partner kind of way. But specifically, intentionally, by name or by description or by a dream they had, or by a feeling they cannot shake no matter how hard they try. The first thing you need to understand is this. When someone prays for a specific person as their spouse, they are not just sending a wish into the universe. They are engaging in a spiritual law. Prayer is not passive. Prayer is one of the most active, powerful forces in existence. When someone drops to their knees and asks God to make you their spouse, they are initiating something in the spiritual realm that has consequences in the physical world. Now psychology calls this focused intention. Spirituality calls it intercession. But both agree on one thing. When a person locks their mind, their heart, and their spirit onto one specific outcome, they begin to align their thoughts, behaviors, and energy toward that outcome in ways they're not even consciously aware of. And here's what's fascinating. You feel it, even if you don't know their name. Even if you've never met them. There is a reason certain thoughts come to you out of nowhere. There is a reason you sometimes feel a warmth in your chest with no obvious explanation. There is a reason you sometimes feel deeply loved, even when you're alone. Some of that is God reminding you that you are not forgotten. But some of it, listen carefully, some of it is the spiritual echo of someone else's prayer reaching across time and space and landing in your heart. Psychology has a term called emotional contagion. It describes how humans can literally feel the emotions of others, even without direct contact. Experiments in quantum biology and energy fields suggest that human beings emit frequencies. And those frequencies can interact. Can you imagine what happens when someone pours their purest, most desperate, most sincere love into a prayer for you? That energy goes somewhere. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't get lost. It travels. And it touches you. This is why many people in deep spiritual relationships report knowing, truly knowing, that someone was thinking about them intensely at a specific moment, even before any contact was made. It's not coincidence. It's connection. Now let's talk about you. Because I want you to really sit with this. If someone is on their knees asking God to make you their spouse, what does that say about who you are? Think about it. You don't pray specifically for something ordinary. You pray specifically for something you believe is extraordinary. You don't get on your knees for someone average. You fall to your knees for someone you believe is a gift from God. Which means somewhere out there, someone has looked at you, or thought of you, or felt your energy, or seen a version of you in a dream, and they said to themselves, "That one. God, I want that one." And they went to God with it. Not to their friends. Not to a matchmaker. To God, that is the highest form of romantic pursuit that exists. It bypasses ego. It bypasses fear. It bypasses pride. And it goes straight to the source of all love and says, I trust you to do what I cannot do. Now here's where the psychology gets really interesting. Psychologists who study attachment and longing have found that when a person fixates on another human being in a loving, non-obsessive way, something happens in their own nervous system. They become softer. They become more open. Their walls come down. Their defenses dissolve. Because love, real love, even before it's received, begins to transform the person who carries it. So whoever is praying for you right now, they are not the same person they were before they started praying. They have been changed by the love they feel for you. That's powerful. That means when you finally meet, you're not meeting someone who has to work to love you. You're meeting someone who has already been loving you. Someone who has already been made better because of you. Someone whose heart has already been shaped around yours. Now I need to address something that some of you might be feeling right now. Because some of you are in pain. Some of you are tired of waiting. Some of you have started to wonder if anyone is even out there for you. Some of you have looked in the mirror and asked God, did you forget about me? And I want to speak to that very directly. The waiting season is not punishment. Let me say that again. The waiting season is not punishment. It is preparation. And here's the thing about preparation that most people miss. You cannot see what you're being prepared for while you're in the middle of being prepared. A seed buried in soil does not see the sunlight. A baby in the womb does not know what the world looks like. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. In fact, everything is happening. Every quiet moment you've sat with yourself and grown is preparation. Every wound you've healed is preparation. Every toxic relationship you've walked away from is preparation. Every boundary you've learned to set is preparation. Every night you chose your peace over chaos is preparation. You have been becoming someone worthy of what's coming. And so have they. And now let's go even deeper. Because here's what I really want you to understand about someone praying for you specifically. In the psychological world, we talk about something called projection. But in the spiritual world, there's something almost opposite. It's called recognition. Projection is when you put your stuff onto someone else. Recognition is when you see something real in someone that resonates with something deep in you. When someone prays for you, they are not projecting a fantasy. They are recognizing a truth. They are saying, there is something in this person that matches something in me. Something that I cannot explain. Something that logic cannot account for. Something that my soul insists on, even when my mind tells me to be practical. That recognition is one of the most spiritually significant experiences a human being can have. And when both people have that recognition, when it goes both ways, what you get is not just a relationship. You get a covenant. A bond that was not made in a restaurant or through a text message. But a bond that was made in the spirit, sealed in prayer, and then revealed in time. Now I want to talk about the signs. Because some of you are wondering right now, is someone actually praying for me? How would I know? What does this feel like from the receiving end? Let me give you some of the most overlooked spiritual and psychological signs. The first sign is unexplained peace. When someone is covering you in prayer, you often feel an unusual peace that doesn't match your circumstances. Your life might be uncertain. Your future might feel unclear. But there is this settled calm underneath the surface that you can't quite explain. That peace is not accidental. It is being sent. The second sign is sudden clarity about your own worth. Have you ever had a season where, out of nowhere, you start seeing yourself differently? Where the way you've been tolerating things suddenly feels unacceptable? Where your standards start rising without anyone pushing them? That is often a sign that spiritual love is circling you. Because when someone is genuinely praying for you in love, their prayers don't just stay in a bubble. They touch your spirit. And when a spirit is touched by genuine love, it begins to remember its own value. The third sign is dreams. Now I'm not talking about vague dreaming. I'm talking about dreams where you see someone whose face you might not fully see, but whose presence you completely feel. Dreams where you wake up and feel loved. Dreams where something in your chest feels full in a way that regular sleep doesn't produce. Across cultures, across centuries, across every spiritual tradition on the planet, dreams have been understood as one of the primary ways the spiritual realm communicates. When God is connecting two people, dreams are often part of the process. The fourth sign is restlessness, followed by release. You might notice a pattern where you feel deeply unsettled about your love life, almost unbearably so, and then suddenly it passes. Not because anything changed externally, but because something shifted spiritually. That rhythm of restlessness and release is often the fingerprint of intercession. Someone prayed, something moved, and you felt the movement even without knowing where it came from. The fifth sign is the quieting of the wrong connections. Have you noticed that certain people who used to hold your attention no longer do? That distractions you used to run to no longer satisfy? That noise that used to drown out your better judgment has suddenly become quieter. That is spiritual alignment happening in real time. When God is preparing to bring the right person, He often clears the field first. He removes what doesn't belong so that when what does belong arrives, you are not confused. You are ready. Now let's go into the psychological and spiritual dynamics of what happens when two people who have been prepared for each other finally meet. Psychologists call it secure attachment. But it feels different from anything most people have ever experienced. Because most people enter relationships carrying their wounds openly. Still bleeding. Still afraid. Still running old programs from old pain. But when two people have been spiritually prepared, when one or both of them has spent time on their knees working through their desire and their fear and their faith, what happens when they meet is different. It's quieter. It's calmer. It's more solid. There's no desperate chasing. There's no game playing. There's no "I like them, but I'm going to pretend I don't." There is just a deep, settled recognition. Like finding something you didn't even know you'd lost. Like coming home to a place you've never been but somehow remember. That feeling, that specific feeling, is one of the most spiritually significant experiences available to a human being. And it happens because the foundation was already laid. In prayer, in preparation, in the spirit, before a single word was spoken out loud. Now I want to challenge something. Because I know some of you are watching this, and a specific person came to mind. Maybe someone you've been praying for. Maybe someone who's been on your mind in a way you can't explain. Maybe someone who showed up in your life and left a mark that should have been easier to shake. And I want to ask you something. Have you considered that what you're feeling might not just be longing? Have you considered that it might be assignment? There is a difference between wanting someone and being called to love someone. Wanting is rooted in what they make you feel. Assignment is rooted in something deeper. Something that existed before you met them. Something that you sense rather than think. Something that doesn't leave even when logic tells you it should. Now psychology talks about this in terms of attachment styles and emotional resonance. But spirituality says it more simply. Some connections are not accidents. Some people are placed in front of you with purpose. And the question is not, do I deserve this person? The question is, am I willing to be the person this connection requires me to become? Because here's the truth that changes everything. When God answers prayers about a spouse, He rarely just hands one person to another. He grows both of them toward each other. Like two trees planted close together, their roots eventually intertwine underground before you can see it above the surface. The preparation is happening in both people simultaneously. Which means while someone is on their knees asking God to make you their spouse, God is also working on you. Whether you've been aware of it or not, every lesson you've learned, every night you've spent choosing growth over comfort, every time you chose to forgive when bitterness felt easier, every time you refused to let pain make you cold, you were being shaped into exactly who they need, into exactly who God promised them. Now here's something I want to plant in your spirit that I think is going to stay with you long after this video ends. Loneliness is not evidence that no one loves you. Loneliness is often evidence that the love you're meant to receive hasn't arrived yet. And arrival takes time. Because the right love, the love built on prayer and preparation and genuine recognition, doesn't just happen. It unfolds. And the unfolding requires both people to be ready at the same time. Which is why God's timing feels maddening from the inside. Because from the inside, you only see your readiness. You don't see theirs. You don't see that they might be in their own wilderness right now. You don't see that they might be healing something that, if it were not healed, would destroy what you're about to build. You don't see that the 6 months you're waiting is saving you from 6 years of heartbreak. God sees both timelines. God sees both hearts. And He's not making you wait because He forgot. He's making you wait because He's making sure both of you arrive at the same door at the same time. Whole enough to hold what's coming. Strong enough to sustain it. Ready enough to receive it. Now let's talk about what you should do while you're waiting. Because this is where most people go wrong. They treat the waiting season like a holding room. Like a place to sit still and do nothing until the person shows up. But the waiting season is not a holding room. It is a training ground. So while someone is on their knees praying for you to be their spouse, here is what you should be doing with your waiting. First, become the answer to your own prayers. You are praying for a loving, whole, healed, purposeful person. So become loving. Become whole. Pursue healing. Walk in purpose. Don't just ask God to send you someone great. Ask God to make you great. Ask God to make you the kind of person that the person you're praying for deserves to find. Second, protect your peace like it's sacred. Because it is. Your peace is the atmosphere in which your blessing will arrive. Chaos repels divine timing. Drama keeps doors closed. People who are constantly stirred up, constantly dramatic, constantly in crisis, create an environment where even good things struggle to land. So choose peace. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because God moves in stillness. And the person coming for you is following a peace that will lead them straight to where you are. Third, stop auditing the timeline. This one is hard, but it is necessary. Every time you say, I should have been married by now, you are telling God that you trust your timeline more than His. Every time you compare your love life to someone else's, you are telling God that you trust public perception more than private promise. Stop auditing the timeline. Your story is not late. Your story is exactly on schedule. Just because you can't see the whole chapter doesn't mean the chapter isn't being written. Fourth, pray for them the way they're praying for you. Whoever they are, wherever they are, whatever they're going through right now, pray for them. Pray for their healing. Pray for their strength. Pray for their clarity. Pray for their protection. Not because you know their name, but because you know they're real. Pray for the person God has set apart for you. And watch what happens in your own heart as you do. Because praying for someone you haven't met yet is one of the most faith-activating, self-transforming things you can do. It keeps your heart soft. It keeps your eyes open. It keeps your faith pointed in the right direction. And it connects you in the spirit to someone who is doing the exact same thing for you. Think about that. Two people unknown to each other on their knees, praying for each other at the same time. That's not coincidence. That's choreography. Now I want to say something to the people who have been hurt badly. The people who have heard beautiful things about love and felt nothing but pain. The people who have prayed and waited and believed and still ended up alone. The people who are watching this and want to believe it but have a scar that makes it hard. I see you, and I want you to hear this very clearly. Your pain is not proof that this doesn't work. Your pain is proof that you have loved. And the capacity you have to love deeply is not a weakness. It is the very thing that makes you capable of the kind of love someone is on their knees asking God for. Broken people are not disqualified from great love. They are often the most qualified because they know what love costs. They know what it feels like to give everything and get nothing. They know the value of something real. And when the real thing arrives, they don't take it for granted. They don't get comfortable and stop trying. They hold on. They fight for it. They water it. They protect it. Because they know what life feels like without it. So your past, your pain, your broken seasons, they are not evidence against your future. They are evidence of your capacity for it. Now let me close with something that I think is going to sit with you. The person who is on their knees right now asking God to make you their spouse is not doing it because they're desperate. They're doing it because they're wise. They know that the best things in life are not found. They are given, and they've decided to go to the giver directly. They have bypassed every shortcut. They have refused every distraction. They have held out for something specific, something real, something worth praying for. And that something is you. Not a fantasy version of you. Not a projected idea of you. You. The real, complicated, healing, growing, sometimes confused but always trying you. That is who someone is asking God for. So walk a little taller today. Not in arrogance, but in dignity. Because you are someone's answered prayer. Even before the answer has been fully revealed. Even before you've seen their face. Even before you've heard their voice. In the spiritual realm, it is already settled. In God's timeline, it is already done. Your job is simply to keep becoming. To keep healing. To keep believing. To keep your heart open. Because the person on their knees right now is going to stand up one day. And they are going to walk into your life. And when they do, nothing about it will feel like luck. Nothing about it will feel like coincidence. It will feel like exactly what it is. A promise fulfilled. A prayer answered. A story that was being written long before either of you picked up the pen. Don't give up on your love story. Don't settle for something that makes you small just because you're tired of waiting. Don't close the door that God is about to open just because the hallway has been long. The best is still ahead of you. And someone already knows it. They're on their knees right now, asking God to make it so. If this video touched something in you today, I need you to do 3 things. Subscribe to this channel right now so you never miss a message like this. Drop a comment below and tell me what part of this video hit you the hardest. And share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Because somewhere out there, someone is about to give up on love. And your share might be the thing that keeps them holding on. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, keep believing. Because the best things in life don't always arrive early. But they always arrive right on time.